From the PEP Radio Newsroom, this is the Lunch Hour News Blast. LGBTQ Nation is reporting 2025 and the return to a GOP president, as well as ongoing efforts to ban books by and about LGBTQ plus people across the country, have created a chilling effect in the publishing industry, according to a new report from The Hill. Several industry professionals told the outlet that over the past year, more publishers have rejected queer book proposals and manuscripts, while authors have seen a drop in royalties for their queer books. The anti-LGBTQ plus rights fixation on children's books has made things particularly difficult in children's book publishing. As The Hill notes, PEN America tracked over 10,000 book bans across the country at the height of the book banning craze, which has targeted books by Black authors along with LGBTQ plus titles during the 2023-2024 school year. During the 2024-25 school year, the group identified nearly 7,000 bans across 87 school districts in the United States. Some authors of banned books have reported spikes in sales in recent years, and at least one bookseller told The Hill that sales of queer novels remain steady. But that may not be enough to reassure publishers of children's and young adult titles. Young adult novelist and LGBTQ Reads creator Dahlia Adler noted that publishers are more likely to invest in books that will not get banned, while Irene Vasquez, an associate editor at independent publisher Levine Querido, explained that children's and young adult publishers rely on wholesalers that sell books to schools and libraries for the majority of their sales. Those wholesalers, she said, have become more hesitant to purchase LGBTQ plus books. Darius the Great is Not Okay author Adib Khorram blamed book bans for a recent 70% drop in his royalty checks and said he and other queer authors have turned to writing adult fiction because of the fraught climate around LGBTQ plus children's and young adult books. While Khorram said he intends to keep writing queer books for young readers, the current political climate has certainly led to more anxiety about how I will pay my bills. This is the first year in like a decade that I've had rejection responses from editors, specifically citing that it's difficult to place queer books in stores and they're being selective about acquiring queer stories. Author and literary agent Rebecca Potos told The Hill. Similarly, Jim McCarthy, vice president at literary agency Distel, Goderic and Bore, said that one editor who passed on a project specifically told him that in the face of so many book bans and so much concern about decreasing school library sales of queer content, that they were passing. This really feels like it's been the first backward step in terms of publishing, worrying that they can't access enough readers because of sort of broad cultural concerns about queer content, McCarthy said. I can't imagine that 5 or 10 years ago I would have received a response like the one I received. Adler told The Hill she's noticed fewer new queer novel announcements in Publishers Weekly and an increase in coded language when it comes to descriptions of young adult novels in particular. I think the language is kind of being more intentionally left out to keep it from being a target, she said. I feel like that's kind of my biggest takeaway of this round of the current administration, she continued. Publishers are not necessarily not buying LGBTQ plus books, but they're not necessarily being loud about the fact that they did buy them, and they're letting people find out they're queer in other ways. That's the News Blast for this hour. PEP Radio is available on the Live 365 app, the PEP Radio page at paequality.com, Roku, and Alexa. Starting Thursday, January 15th at midnight, the Pennsylvania Equality Project is launching year 4 of their survey on housing affordability. We'll have more information about that later today on the website. Up next, we have the Meadville area weather forecast here on PEP Radio.